In the ever-evolving world of celebrity, music, and media, a new flashpoint has emerged that underscores the deep divides between public perception, media commentary, and artistic expression. This time, the cultural lightning rod comes in the form of Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter tour visuals, and conservative media personality Megyn Kelly is not staying silent. What started as a blurred video clip on a massive concert screen has now escalated into a national talking point, prompting larger discussions about celebrity sensitivity, freedom of expression, and the role of criticism in the age of hypervisibility. At the heart of it all is a complex dynamic: Beyoncé's creative storytelling about her place in country music, and Megyn Kelly's belief that her inclusion, even in an anonymized way, was targeted and manipulative. As we explore this latest cultural clash, we unpack not just the incident itself, but the broader cultural and social context that gives it weight. The spark: Beyoncé's tour visuals stir up media controversy. Beyoncé is currently performing on her Cowboy Carter tour, a high-profile celebration of her boundary-pushing country album, which recently won a Grammy for Best Country Album. As part of the performance, she includes a montage of media commentary about her entry into the traditionally white, male-dominated country music genre. Amidst that footage is a moment of commentary from Sky News, where Megyn Kelly voiced skepticism about Beyoncé's foray into country. The clip, notably, does not show Kelly's face clearly, it's blurred, and does not mention her by name. Nevertheless, Kelly quickly identified herself and responded with public outrage on her radio show. It recently came to my attention that Beyoncé, who's on some world tour right now reinventing herself as a country star, is running videotape during the show of yours truly, Kelly announced on air, clearly perturbed by her implied inclusion. She went on to accuse Beyoncé of cherry-picking negative commentary in order to craft a victim narrative, despite what Kelly sees as the overwhelmingly positive response the album received. Kelly's argument: Beyoncé can't handle the mildest criticism. Megyn Kelly didn't hold back in expressing her views. She positioned Beyoncé as an overly sensitive superstar who reacts disproportionately to minor pushback. She's considered untouchable, Kelly said. You're not allowed to rip on her. You're not allowed to rip on Michelle Obama either. But we do. Kelly cast herself as a voice of reason in a media landscape that treats some celebrities as above critique. She made it clear that her intention is not to attack, but to analyze, and if that includes questioning Beyoncé's artistic decisions, so be it. One of Kelly's strongest points was that Beyoncé seemingly had to dig deep to find the few negative responses to her country music project, implying that most of the media response was, in fact, overwhelmingly positive. For Kelly, being included, anonymously or not, felt personal. Beyoncé had to scour the internet to find anybody who offered any criticism of this move into country whatsoever, she claimed. She still has to look for the one sliver where she could play the victim and be aggrieved because big bad Megyn Kelly said something completely milquetoast about her entry into country music. Beyoncé's perspective: art as narrative. Although Beyoncé has not directly addressed Megyn Kelly's reaction, her inclusion of media commentary, both positive and negative, suggests an intentional artistic statement. Beyoncé has long talked about feeling unwelcome in certain musical spaces, especially country music. Despite her Southern roots and musical versatility, her appearance at the 2016 CMAs with the Chicks drew backlash from segments of the country music fanbase and industry. Her Cowboy Carter album and subsequent tour appear to be part of a broader project to claim space in a genre where Black artists, especially Black women, have been marginalized. By including critical voices in her tour visuals, Beyoncé could be using her art to highlight the resistance she faced, rather than manufacture victimhood. Moreover, artists routinely use media criticism in their visuals and storytelling to reflect their experiences, often blurring the lines between personal and political, art and reality. A bigger question: who gets to criticize whom? This incident opens the door to deeper questions. Are celebrities truly becoming more sensitive to criticism, or are critics becoming too quick to declare themselves victims of cancel culture? Megyn Kelly is not new to controversy. She has built a career in part by challenging what she sees as elite, progressive, or mainstream media narratives. Her critique of Beyoncé was part of a larger tradition of conservative skepticism about pop culture figures who take on social issues. But the line between valid criticism and becoming part of an artist's narrative is increasingly blurred. When Kelly's commentary becomes part of a Beyoncé performance, even in a blurred, fleeting moment, questions of consent, intent, and interpretation emerge. Did Beyoncé target Kelly? Probably not. Her inclusion seems to be part of a general college of reactions. But in a media-saturated world, even a second of screen time can feel enormous when you're the subject. Kelly connects the dots: George Clooney, celebrity fragility, and the double standard. Interestingly, Megyn Kelly brought another name into the fray: George Clooney. She claimed that Clooney recently questioned her journalistic credentials, implying that this too was a case of a celebrity being unable to accept critique. He's George effing Clooney, she's Beyoncé. But they can't take the mildest criticism, she declared. Kelly draws a line between her interactions with Clooney and Beyoncé, arguing that both are examples of celebrities who want their narratives perfectly curated and unchallenged. Her tone suggests a frustration not just with Beyoncé personally, but with a broader celebrity ecosystem that punishes dissent and rewards flattery. In this framing, Kelly isn't just defending herself, she's issuing a warning about a media culture that increasingly sidelines critical voices. Victimhood versus narrative control, two sides of the same coin. There's a fine line between playing the victim and reclaiming the narrative, and this feud sits right on that line. Megyn Kelly argues that Beyoncé is pretending to be oppressed or mistreated to elevate her artistic persona. Beyoncé, on the other hand, seems to be asserting that criticism, especially criticism with racial or gender undertones, is part of the landscape she had to navigate to make Cowboy Carter a reality. Both women, in their own ways, are pushing back against perceived attempts to define them. Kelly bristles at being used as a symbol of resistance. Beyoncé bristles at being excluded from a genre her musical background qualifies her to participate in. What becomes clear is that each sees herself as responding to an unfair system. Kelly to media elitism and celebrity overreach. Beyoncé to racial and gender barriers in the country music industry. The role of media in artist expression. Artists have long included criticism in their work, from diss tracks to documentary-style visuals. Beyoncé isn't doing anything radically new here. What makes it interesting is the intensity of the reaction it provoked. Was Megyn Kelly right to feel singled out? Possibly. No one likes being used as a symbol of negativity, especially in front of tens of thousands of fans at a stadium concert. But did Beyoncé have the right to include that commentary, especially in a blurred, anonymous way? Absolutely. This moment reveals just how uncomfortable people can get when art and criticism collide in the public sphere. Critics expect to offer commentary without becoming part of the story. But sometimes that's not how culture works. Final thoughts: a culture war in microcosm. This situation is more than just a media spat. It reflects the larger tensions in American culture right now about race, gender, celebrity, critique, and freedom of expression. Beyoncé's tour visuals are about telling a story of breaking into a traditionally exclusionary space. Megyn Kelly's response is about resisting what she sees as elite sensitivity and selective outrage. In many ways, both are doing what they've always done. Beyoncé is making bold artistic statements that push the cultural envelope. Kelly is challenging sacred cows and questioning powerful narratives. The real debate lies in how we interpret those roles. Is Beyoncé elevating a necessary cultural conversation or manipulating criticism for sympathy? Is Kelly defending journalistic integrity or unnecessarily inserting herself into an artist's narrative? What's clear is that we're in a moment where no media moment goes unexamined, and where the blurred line between public and personal is more fraught than ever. Whether you side with Beyoncé, Megyn Kelly, or just want the discourse to calm down, this cultural moment is telling us something important. Art is commentary, but commentary, too, can become art.